Welcome in. It is somehow already week 4 of the college football season, which means it's time for another preview episode here on the Merrifield Sportsbook Show. It's the usual cast of characters. It's Justin Walsh, Jay DeCoster, Matt Merrifield, myself, Nick Burt. Welcome back to whatever this is going to be this week, because let's be honest, I know Jay Walsh already said it. Jay already said it. Matt, you didn't say it because you weren't here. But this board sucks this week. It is a disaster waiting to happen.
I love it. I love the board, to be quite honest. But
of course you do. Jay Walsh, I'll just go to you first. How are you feeling coming into week 4 of this season?
Well, concerning my picks, I'm feeling very good. I have a pretty good record to start this year. I'm actively not feeling good because I'm currently in the middle of watching the absolute monstrosity that is Detroit Tigers baseball right now. And they totally they make me want to not be a baseball fan every day. It's really unfortunate, but we move on. Hopefully they can avoid complete and total collapse, but knowing they're going up against Cleveland, probably not going to happen.
Yeah, real shame that. Real sad. Jay DeCoster, your baseball team, they clinched a spot in the playoffs today. That feels like a massive thing because who knows? Maybe your baseball team is the only one that will actually go far in the playoffs.
Yeah, imagine not clinching a playoff spot. That could be my team. Hey, maybe the Brewers. I don't know what the score is in that game, but division's not over yet. No, it's probably over. But nice to have some playoff a team go to the playoffs in this town. It's been like 5 or 6 years, which is insane. So, and I don't count the play-in. Don't even get me started with that with the Bulls. So. It's nice for once.
Jay, didn't the Chicago Sky make the playoffs like last year?
I don't want to disrespect Candace Parker's the GOAT, but it's beyond. I mean, I couldn't give a damn. With all due respect, I'll just leave it.
That team is the only winner that Wintrust Arena is saying. Put respect on the Sky's name. Matt Merrifield, you were in the home of the Sky this past weekend with Jay DeCoster. Just how are the vibes coming back from that this week?
I mean, 2 thumbs up to the city of Chicago this weekend. Great. JDC is just a wonderful host, showing me the great stops within Wrigleyville. But only issues that the Cubs decided to lose to the Tampa Bay Rays on Saturday afternoon when I decided to purchase a Cubs hat. And I will be honest, I rooted for the Cubs. I wanted to hear "Go Cubs Go," and then the Cubs shit the bed. Anthony Rizzo Day, Eddie Vedder was there. You're up a run going into the 8th. You have 2. You're down 1 in the bottom of the 9th. 2 runners on, nobody out. Runners at the corners, nobody out. You're down 1, and you don't get a single run in. Just absolute disaster. And I spent $16 on beer. That wasn't great, but you know what? It was a good weekend. Jay was great. We met some really nice Minnesota fans at a local establishment on Saturday night. They were not happy that I was rooting for Cal. But Jay and I were both actively rooting for Cal. I felt very bad when Coy, what's their returner's name, that just kicked the football. Yeah, when he kicked that ball, I laughed out loud in the middle of the establishment, and I felt really bad. But I couldn't contain myself. So overall, great weekend. I love this slate, by the way. Right now I have 7 picks. I'm still actively trying to figure out which game is coming off my board. Maybe you guys can help me out with that. So let's get right into it.
I truly don't know how you still have 7. I struggled to get 5. But
you can have some of mine.
No, I'm good. I figured out my 5. Before we get to this week 4, we of course got to look back just a little bit, because I know Jay Walsh has things to say about his lock of the week last week and how that went down. I mean, let's look at where we were right and where we were wrong. Jay Walsh, start with you.
Well, in terms of where I was right, I have a couple choices because I did have a good week last week. I went 4-1, but I'm going to go with the one that I received a lot of ridicule from certain members of this committee for, and I'm going to go with my Indiana minus 48.5 pick, which I believe hit by halftime. A certain member of this committee compared me to, I believe it was a $3 hooker for taking that pick. But as I said in the chat, if Vegas is going to give me free money, I'm going to take it. That was Signetti loves to just beat the absolute living hell out of really bad teams. And so I'm in Indiana minus 48.5 was free money there. Where I was wrong, and realistically, I'm going to say where I was wrong was putting United States currency on Notre Dame. As I said pre-show, I am glad that Texas A&M ended up scoring that game-winning touchdown and winning the game, because if I had lost my parlay and lock of the week simply because Notre Dame is not able to functionally kick an extra point, I would have lost my mind. So I am glad that the Aggies got the job done. They made the comeback. Great win for their program, Mike Elko. I know a few people who call him a fraud, but that's a great signature win for him on the road at Notre Dame. I should have known better than to put my faith in the Fighting Irish, and pretty sure it won't be happening again. So that's where I was wrong.
Jay DeCoster, will go to you next. Where were you right and where were you wrong this past week?
Yeah, well, I stole Matt's lock for last week, which is Bama. Finally hit the lock, which was nice. I mean, Wisconsin's just absolutely horrible. So that was an easy one. Another one would be Miami, who just absolutely blew the doors off of USF. So that was pretty nice. Where I was wrong, I mean, I'll go with Jay Walsh as well with Notre Dame. I mean, that was just a painful ending for them. But also South Carolina, and I'm not really Lenore Sellers got hurt. I don't really know if they would have won that game even with when he was playing, but they got destroyed by Vanderbilt at home. I mean, I know Harbor and Sellers got hurt, but they got destroyed as well. So overall, pretty solid week.
Matt, go to you next.
It was it was another 4-2 week, another 67%, 2-1 week 0, 4-2, 4-2, 4-2. Where I was right, Big 12 Friday night football. I knew Kansas State was dog shit, so I feel good that I finally got an Arizona pick right. It took me 14 months to finally get them right on a game, but here we are. And then shout out Deion Sanders for being absolute dog shit. Colorado sucks. So shout out Houston, Willie Fritz, love him. Where I was wrong, I'm just going to implement this right now. We have to, as a committee, ban each other from betting on just terrible football games. UConn was a mistake. I put my right. I mean, my other wrong pick was South Carolina. Lenore Sellers got hurt, and as soon as that happened, that just play didn't have a shot in hell. Hell, I don't even know if they would have won if he didn't get hurt, but it happens. It's the SEC. But UConn, I'm just, somebody needs to throw out a veto button. We need an addict segment, or we each make one just absolutely gross pick a week. We each make our own gross pick of the week, or we just have to stop each other from doing it. It was Tarleton State-esque. So, I got what I deserved. But overall, it was still a fun week. Utah, the lock covered, even though I faded JDC. And then shout out Cal. So I'm excited for another week. And overall, I can't 4-2. I can't complain. 67%. That's heavily in the green at the end of the year. So let's just hopefully the good vibes keep flowing.
Yeah, and where I was right was betting on West Coast teams against East Coast teams traveling far. Both Cal and Stanford won outright. I wasn't smart enough to take them outright, but they both went outright. I know Spartan Nation waking up on Sunday morning seeing BC lost kind of put a scare into them, because this Stanford team isn't good. We saw that on the island, but hey, they got the win. Where I was wrong, I knew I fell into the trap with USF, yet I still took it. Matt, you tried to help me believe in it, saying it was a double reverse here, saying that Vegas is expecting you to think that you're going the wrong way. And yeah, that didn't happen. I knew I was falling into the trap. I'm probably falling into another few traps this week, but here we are. Let's get it going. Week 4, first game to preview. We are going to big noon kickoff, except it's going to be big 10:30 a.m. kickoff in Salt Lake City. Future Winter Olympic host site as Texas Tech hosts the Utah Utes. It is going to be Utah as a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under is 57.5. Jada Coster, go to you first on this one. This is a Utah team that we talked about preseason. They're kind of flying under the radar. Nobody's really talking about Utah. And here we are. Utah is, one of the top teams in the Big 12, one of the top teams in the country right now, playing what seems to be very good Texas Tech team coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this one. The fact this is on Big Noon is embarrassing, but this should be a night game because playing at Utah is always difficult. And I do like this Texas Tech team this year. I don't know. Their line right now is 3, or depending on where you get it. The biggest thing I would take away, I do like the over. I do like these two offenses. I like Kyle Winningham's squad this year. I think, not having Cam Rising, they're actually having healthy QB play, does help them a lot. So they're always going to be talented. I'm going to take Utah on the spot. I really like them. I like them preseason. I just think them having that home field advantage is very important out there in Salt Lake City, one of the toughest places to play in the Big 12, not one of them in the country. So I would lean Utah on this spot. Texas Tech is very, very much improved roster this year, but I think it's just going to be too much of a tall task to go out there in Salt Lake and find a way to win. So I will lean Utah.
Matt, we'll go to you next. As Jada Coster said, Cam Rising being gone seems to have made Utah very good. We've seen some great play from Utah so far this season, but this truly feels like the first real test for them this year.
Both teams, it really is their first true test. Obviously, at least Utah got to go on the road and play at Wyoming last week. Not that Wyoming's any good at all. But Texas Tech, this is their first road trip, and the elevation change. I know it's not quite the mile-high city in Utah, and Lubbock also. Would anybody like to guess the elevation of Lubbock, Texas? No guesses. 3,200 feet, just for those wondering at home. So a little over half a mile above sea level. Rice-Eccles Stadium, wherever Utah is like 4,800 feet. Just saying. So there still is an increase in elevation. Point being, Utah's tough to beat at home. They're really tough to beat at home. And when they have a natural quarterback and Devin Dampier, I mean, I'm a huge fan. In my opinion, he should be higher on the Heisman odds than he is. I think him, Dante Moore, John Mateer, and Devin Dampier are the guys right now. I know there's some other guys playing well. Carson Beck has been playing well. But Devin Dampier, if he played on the East Coast, people would love the way he plays football. And we all know the physicality, the defense, and the offensive line that this Utah team has every single season. I lean Utah here. I got it at 2.5. When I put it down on my sheet, I know that's what we have it down at. Some places it's 3, some places it's 3.5. Get it 2.5, hammer it. 3, you can still play at 3.5. I probably would stay away. I would not be as confident. But if it's under 3, I love Utah in this spot at home. Texas Tech is good, but they added a lot in the portal. I still think there's some unknowns. They haven't played a good defense yet. It's going to be kind of a culture shock. 10 a.m. kickoff in the elevation. Give me the Utes in this one at home.
Matt, before I move on to Jay Walsh, you mentioned that Utah had the first opportunity to go on the road against Wyoming last week, even though Wyoming wasn't good. Are you forgetting about that absolute difficult road game they played week 1 at the Rose Bowl against UCLA?
You mean the future home of Jonathan Smith?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I don't want Jay Walsh to throw something at me. I'm sorry, UCLA. It's been a long week for you guys, but who cares? It's Utah. I mean, is that really a road game? Does it matter? I don't know, but I think going to a former WAC rival is more tough than going to UCLA. But let's move on.
You're not wrong. Jay Walsh, go to you here. Obviously, Texas Tech really invested in NIL this year. It's paying early dividends, but obviously this is going to be the first real test for them.
Yeah, and as you kind of said before, this is really or as you and Matt both pointed out, this is really the first test for both of these teams. So I don't think it's really an exaggeration to say that these are probably the two best teams in the Big 12. They're both very talented teams. Obviously, I mean, Utah has just been beating the hell out of people to start this year. Texas Tech has really kind of been rolling as well. So I think this could very easily end up being the best game of this weekend. I do like Utah in this spot, partially because it's in Utah, which obviously home field advantage is always a big thing. But I'm bought into Utah this year. I know they haven't really played anybody great yet, but they don't mess around. They're a very balanced team. They have a good defense. They have a very balanced offense. As Matt pointed out, Devin Dampier has been great. They have a great rushing attack, good passing attack. They don't really turn the ball over. They're just a very well-balanced team. Texas Tech is a good team as well. I mean, Baron Morton has been a very good quarterback to start this year. I think they're definitely going to put up their points. I would take Utah on this one. This is part of my parlay later, is Utah -2.5. I do like this pick a lot. In terms of the over-under, this is a tricky one because we don't really know what either of these two defenses are yet because they haven't played anybody good. I would lean over just because, like I said, I do think Texas Tech is talented enough to put up points on Utah, and I think Utah can very easily match them. So I would lean the over here, but this could also end up being kind of a low to mid-20s game.
Yeah, with the over-under, I agree with you on that, Jay Walsh. I feel like we don't really know what either of these defenses are right now. I kind of lean the under there just based off pure vibes. Overall, I like Utah in this game. From what I remember, I believe they were my pick to win the Big 12 this year, or at least make the conference title game. I honestly don't know. I could have dreamt that. Who knows? But I'm going to take Utah here just to continue that narrative that I may or may not have. Let's move on. Next game on the board, a big game in the Big 10. It is Illinois traveling to Memorial Stadium, the other Memorial Stadium in the Big 10, to take on Indiana. Indiana, 5.5-point favorite. The over-under, 52.5. Matt Merrifield will go to you first on this one. This is a make-or-break game for either of these teams if they even want a chance at the playoffs, basically.
I agree. And while I will be rooting for Illinois and I want to put them on my board, I can't do it. The Mike Merrifield rule says take Indiana. So if you're looking for my official pick, I'm taking Indiana to lay the points. I feel dirty. I feel like that $3 hooker I was talking about, I referred to Jay Walsh as. That doesn't feel right. I hate Indiana. Kurt Cignetti has somehow made a terrible, all-time awful football program unlikable. Maybe it's just a non-conference thing. Didn't this week he make a comment about how Old Dominion beat Virginia Tech? Like how that win looks so much better now because you beat a winless team that already fired their head coach before Jewish New Year. I mean, this is horrible. This is horrible. I like Brett Bielema. Honestly, I think Nick, I texted you this week. I think Illinois, while they're not an elite football team, they are what they are. They're really good defensively. They're strong. They're going to play hard. They might not be able to beat teams that are better than them, but they're going to, they can reach their ceiling. I think Indiana's a bunch of posers. I don't think they've played anybody. The two teams with pulses last year they got beat, and it was clearly that they could not hang. So for that reason, I am rooting for Illinois, and I like Illinois matchup-wise, but I still have to take Indiana minus the 5.5 simply out of principle. I don't feel good about it. Jay Walsh, go. I don't want to talk about Indiana anymore. I hate the Hoosiers.
That might be the most interesting argument I've ever heard for taking a team, when basically you say, I'm taking this team, but I hate everything about them.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting. I know it has worked oftentimes in the past. I'm going against the Mike Merrifield rule here. I like Illinois here. I know I should stay away from this game, but I'm not going to, because I do think Illinois is a good team. I like Luke Altmaier. I think they have good players on offense, as you said, Matt. I think they're a good defensive team. I hate to say I am putting this in my parlay. I like Illinois. Plus 5.5 seems like a lot to me. I could very easily see, even if Indiana wins this game, saying that they're going to win it by 6 points feels like a lot. I feel like this is a game that could come right down to the wire, meaning like potentially a walk-off field goal. In that case, Illinois ends up covering. Realistically, I think Illinois has a decent chance to win outright, because as you pointed out, Matt, I really don't think Indiana is all that. Like I said, they like to beat up on really bad teams, but when push comes to shove and they're facing athletes of either equivalent athletes or superior athletes, they tend to not show up. And Illinois, I think, definitely has, at the very least, equivalent athletes on their team, if not superior. So I'm going to go with Illinois here. I don't love it, but I am putting it in the parlay. I like it enough to justify it, because I do think Illinois is a good team. Over under, I think this is a pretty clear over. I think both of these teams can put up their points. 52.5, I don't feel like is enough. So I think the over here definitely hits.
Jay, just take us home here.
Jay Walsh. You know what? I'm gonna go with Jay Walsh here. I don't like any of these teams. I don't like any of these teams either. But Illinois, they've proved me wrong. I believe I took Duke, and they proved me wrong. They won pretty convincingly last year. Had a good ending last year. Indiana is. I just don't like any of these teams. I would definitely stay away from this spot, but I like Illinois in this spot. It could definitely be very close. Indiana wins, but at 4.5, I think this would be a very close game. So I would lean Illinois in this spot. I do like Luke Altmaier a lot. I do like their passing game, and their defense is very, very solid. And Indiana just, they just haven't really shown me all that much. So I'll take Illinois. I also agree. I do like the over as well. I do like these two quarterbacks. I do like Mendoza a lot. I just think Illinois is, out to prove some people wrong. So I will take the Illini.
I'm just going to keep it short, simple here. Mike Merrifield rule, give me Indiana minus 5.5. That's all I got. Let's move on. Final game that we will preview here. It is the second latest kickoff on the board. The one only in front of them is, of course, the kickoff on the island of the battle for the golden screwdriver between Fresno State and Hawaii. But of course, we are talking about Michigan State traveling out west to take on USC. Jay Walsh, I'll go to you first. Is this Jonathan Smith's first game that he will be playing or coaching at the Coliseum when he does biannually in the next few years for UCLA, the worst P4 program that has a job opening right now?
This is the weirdest game to pick, because there are basically three ways for me to look at this. One, I feel like 17.5 is a very large number. You're telling me you're giving Michigan State 2 touchdowns and a field goal, and they can still cover. I feel like that's a lot. But at the same time, MSU historically plays like dog shit when they go to the West Coast. You can look back as far as you want. Arizona State Washington a couple years ago, they historically do not play well when they go to the West Coast. So, I mean, this is definitely a game that, I mean, especially with an 11 p.m. kickoff Eastern time, this could get ugly really fast. But as I was saying to you guys before the show, everyone is acting like we are traveling to Tuscaloosa to play 2013 Alabama in this game. I don't think USC is some world beater. Like, I know that they're a decent team. I know that they can pass the ball well, and I know Michigan State's pass defense has looked shaky at times this year. But I don't get why everyone is acting like it's a foregone conclusion that USC is going to win this game by 5 touchdowns. I really don't get the hype. And obviously, I mean, USC is definitely talented, but I've never really been sold on Lincoln Riley. I don't know that they're really that good. So I would take MSU to cover here. I'm not going to take them to win, but I would take them to cover the 17.5. The over-under is a really tricky number for me because I think it could end up being right around that 56.5 number. I would hesitantly take the over, but I don't feel good about it.
Jake Hoster will go to you next here. Obviously, big game for Michigan State, even though they are 3-0 right now. Feels like this is major for how the vibes are at least going to be going into the October portion of the season.
Yeah. Well, first of all, sidebar, this very last minute, I'm actually going out there for the game last minute. So I'm excited for that. But Matt is completely shocked. Yeah, he's like, what? No, but Jay Walsh, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know if I don't think this Michigan State team is good. I really don't. I think the defense is a huge concern. Giving up 40 to BC is a huge concern. Giving up 24 to Youngstown is a big concern. They have no pass rush whatsoever. And Lincoln Riley can rack up the points. I really don't care what team he's playing. The vibes just aren't there. And, we always talk about, Big Ten teams in the Midwest going out to West Coast never work out well. It's not there. So I'm taking USC here. I know, like you said, I agree. They're not any world beaters. They're not great. I think they're an 8-4 football team. Mayava's a solid quarterback, but I don't know. Michigan State's defense is not good, and they don't have any pass rush. They have some injuries in the secondary. That's really going to hurt them a lot. I would lean over here. Charles is going to throw the rock around. Still looks very impressive. So I'll take the over, but give me USC. I know it's a big number, but the formula for success just isn't there traveling out to the West Coast. So
Matt, we'll go to you next. Obviously, long road trip, late kickoff. Does this affect USC though? Since they usually don't kick off this late, does that maybe throw a bit of a wrench in their plans too?
Well, my favorite part about the whole situation is that Michigan State, like typically teams for odd game times will practice at the kickoff time. The NCAA does not let Michigan State practice at 11 p.m. because it is against NCAA rules to have an 11 p.m. practice. You cannot practice after 10 p.m. in college football. And yet they're letting them play a college football game at 11 p.m. I mean, I'm not the most bent out of shape about the kickoff time because I'll be home for the second half after I get home from a concert. So actually, I think I'm the biggest winner. I think I'm the only Spartan fan that's actually okay with the fact that the game doesn't start till 11 because I can watch it in the car on the way home, even though I'm taking I'm taking USC tentatively. The thing I like about Michigan State, first off, they have a lot of West Coast guys on this team. Like this isn't like a game that we're going to the West Coast and it's like obviously Aiden Childs, the big one who's from LA. You have same thing with Jonathan Smith himself. They have quite a few guys that are from Hawaii. They have quite a few West Coast players either coming over from Oregon State or they've just still recruited out there with the recruiting ties that Coach Smith has. So from that standpoint, I think they're less likely to have a letdown. Last year against Oregon, they were, I think, 24-point dogs, and they covered, or 27. They covered against Oregon, in a game they shouldn't have, off a short week after losing to Ohio State, playing a very good Oregon team, an elite Oregon team. So I want to say it's clearly USC. I don't think it's as clear cut. My favorite bet in this game, however, USC over 37.5 points. Just USC will score 38 points in this game. They're going to score into the 40s. I don't see how State's going to stop them. Even if this game was played on a neutral site or in East Lansing, I don't see any way Michigan State's defense away. The Scotty Hazelton BS zone defense, no pass rush. It's a recipe for disaster, guys. We've seen this so many times. But I do think the offense, it's a soft zone. It's soft baby shit is what it is. And so give me I'm going to take USC, but I don't, just because, once again, out of principle, I'm not taking a West Coast team to go out and cover. It's not going to happen. More than likely.
All right. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I will throw it out there. When is the last time Michigan State had a kickoff at or after 11 p.m.?
Was it that Arizona State game?
It was not the Arizona State game, because that kicked off at 10:45. On December 4th.
Was it when we played at Hawaii?
December 4th, 2004, John L. Smith took his Michigan State team out to the island to take on Hawaii. Timmy Chang threw for 416 yards, had 4 touchdowns, and Hawaii won that game 41-38. Shout out the Rainbow Warriors. Give me, I don't know. We'll have to wait for my picks for this pick of the game, because we're already at the picks, so I might as well just start us off. We went 2-2 in the locks last week. Real shocker there. That's the third straight week of 2-2. It's been. We got to figure out our locks, especially me. Listen, I've been terrible at locks this year. I don't even know what my lock is right now. I'm going to read through my picks, and I'm hoping something just calls out my name and says, that's the lock, and then have it go terribly wrong. So let's just get rolling here with the picks, I think. Lot of theme here. A lot of last rivalry games filling up the board this week. Give me SMU, the Mustangs, plus 6.5 at TCU, the final battle of the Iron Skillet. I don't love that this is at TCU, but I think SMU is the better team. I'm kind of surprised it's at 6.5 for them. Give me the Mustangs. In the, at least final for now, battle of the Civil War, give me Oregon minus 35.5. That's just such an obscene number that you have to take it, it feels like, given what they did to Oklahoma State, and Oregon State's 10 times worse. I know whoever Oregon State's coach didn't call out Dan Lanning and Nike this week like Mike Gundy did, but this Oregon State team is awful. Even though I don't particularly love the uniforms this week, I know Matt and I have had discussions about these Nike or Phil Knight inspired uniforms. I think they kind of look terrible. I know, Matt, you love them. It is what it is. So give me the Ducks. The final battle of the Apple Cup, at least for now, give me Washington State plus 20.5. I know they got absolutely throttled last week at North Texas, but this is a home game in the final battle of the Apple Cup for the foreseeable future. They got to keep it within 21. They just have to. I say that, and they're going to get blown out by 50. So give me Washington State. And then we get to the final 2 picks here. Give me USC minus 17.5. That's very close to being my lock. I got to get through the picks. I don't know what I'm doing here right now, because my final pick, as mentioned earlier, it's the final battle for the Golden Screwdriver. Give me Hawaii plus 2.5 on the island against Fresno State. I don't know. Maybe that's my lock. Hawaii on the island getting points. You know what? That's my lock. Give me Hawaii plus 2.5. I don't know what I'm doing.
You got to make it the Apple Cup. You got to make it the Apple Cup. Because you left out one important factor, Nick.
Oh, Lord. What did I leave out?
And this favors Washington State. Washington plays who next week?
I don't know who they play next week.
They host the world famous Ohio State Buckeyes. This is look ahead central. I mean, Hawaii's also a good pick. That would be my second favorable lock. You do what you must. Neither one of those games are on my parlay, but I do like both those.
Give me Hawaii as Stephen Kwan just gets another single. So I'll go to Jay Walsh.
Stephen Kwan is a terrorist. Anyway,
we do not say those words on these airwaves.
I hate Stephen Kwan with a passion.
You can say that. That's fine.
We're gonna get into my picks. As mentioned before, I really don't love the slate. There aren't a lot of games I feel great about. Leading off, one that we already mentioned, Illinois plus 5.5. Again, I don't really feel great about it. I know I'm breaking the golden rule of Mike Merrifield, but I just feel like this Illinois team is better than Indiana. So I like them to cover the 5.5 here. Again, as mentioned, I'm taking Utah minus 2.5. That one I do feel a little bit better about. I am also kind of debating on my lock of the week right now. That could be it. I'm going to roll through the rest of these games, and if one doesn't really speak to me, that's probably going to be my lock of the week, but we'll get through the rest of them. I'm going to take Virginia minus 14.5 against Stanford. You got Stanford traveling across the country, coming off a big win last week. Stanford's not a good football team. They played a great game against Boston College. BC really did not play well, and again, was traveling across the country to play in Palo Alto. Stanford is now traveling all the way to Virginia to play this game. Give me Virginia minus 14.5. I like I like Oklahoma minus 6.5 against Auburn at home. I think this Oklahoma team is pretty decent this year. I like John Mateer a lot. I don't really know whether this Auburn team is that good, but at Oklahoma, I think this could definitely be a game that they win by potentially even double digits. So I like 6.5 here for the Sooners. And then my final pick is going to be Clemson minus 17.5 against Syracuse at home. This is going to be kind of a get-right game for Clemson, coming off the loss to Georgia Tech last week. Basically, Clemson has no more room for error at this point. They need to win and win convincingly. I think they're going to against Syracuse. I don't really think that Syracuse is very good. So I like Clemson to step on the throat of Syracuse here. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to make Utah minus 2.5 my lock of the week. I like the Utes. I'm all in on Utah this year. So Utah minus 2.5 against Texas Tech is my lock of the week.
Jay DeCoster, we'll go to you next. Give me your pick for the week.
Absolutely. So we're going to start off Friday night. This is an ugly one, but we love it. Me and Matt were talking about this at a local establishment, Iowa Rutgers, under 46.5. Two of these quarterbacks are awful. Gronkowski, I don't know how you pronounce it, but he is awful. And Ethan Kaliakmanis is also terrible. I could see this game going like 17-10, 17-13, 20-17. I love the under in this spot. Two pretty mediocre football teams, pretty good defensive teams. So give me the under in that. I also love Utah minus 3 at Texas Tech. I was going to make that my lock, but now I have to change it. So give me the Utes minus the 3. Notre Dame, Purdue. Notre Dame is 0-2. I understand they lost against Texas Tech. This is a bounce back for them. Purdue is horrible. All right, this is at home. I like Notre Dame to cover the 25 here. It's 25, 25.5, 26, wherever you get it. I like Notre Dame in the spot against a pretty god-awful Purdue team. Kansas, West Virginia, I like Kansas in the spot minus 12.5. Kansas got a pretty big win in the backyard brawl. They're still not a very good football team, so I like Kansas minus 12.5. I think they're a pretty solid squad this year. And there goes Nick Burt. Awesome. Georgia Tech versus Temple. I like Georgia Tech minus 23.5. Temple is really bad. This game's at home, so I will take Georgia Tech minus the 23.5. I mean, they can have a shot at the ACC this year. I'm not telling you they're going to win it, but they have a really good squad this year. And then my final pick, this is going to be my lock. It's USC minus 17.5. Like we talked about, Michigan State's defense just is not going to keep up with this USC Lincoln Riley led offense. So I like USC in the spot. Late night kick. So give me USC minus the 17.5. So those are my picks. Nick, you were not here. I took Kansas minus 12.5. And
Jay,
Georgia
I
Tech.
heard you. You don't need to repeat. I was here. I don't know what happened to the system, but I did hear your picks. Some great picks.
Awesome. Here we go, Matt.
Jay, who are your locks?
It was going to be Utah, but now it's USC.
Okay. Jay, you and I have some very similar picks. I don't know how to feel about that, considering, I mean, I'm in first among the four of us so far, and you are the only guy below 500. So
it's a good thing, then.
That is true, Jay. I think, Jay Walsh, you and I are tied percentage-wise, but now that I think about it, I think we're both at 67% so far. So just one of us bet on week 0, one of us didn't. Anyways. First pick, all right, I'm going to read through the ones that are for sure on my board. I have 5 for sure. Need you guys to help me get the final 3 down to the 6th pick. Here we go. First off, on the board, lock of the week, Rutgers, Iowa, under 46.5. Enough said. Utah, minus 2.5. We've already talked about that. Enough said. Nebraska, getting 2.5 against the Wolverines. Michigan is not good. I don't care if Batman can play Central Michigan all he wants against a real defense on the road in Lincoln, year 3, Matt Rule. You cannot give me points in this situations, but give me Nebraska. Love it. Give me Kansas minus 11.5. I agree with Jay. It's been a very up and down last couple of weeks for West Virginia. They're not very good. They found a way to win. They also, I believe, have another tough matchup. I believe they play Texas Tech next week. Hold on. I forget which team in the Big 12. Let's see. West Virginia next week they play Utah at home. So Kansas very good, but obviously they could be a little bit of a look ahead. Sandwich spot. Give me Kansas blowout win at home. All right. Now I need some help. For my final pick, it's between Tennessee minus 38.5 versus UAB, Baylor minus 1.5 against Arizona State, or Duke minus 2.5 versus NC State. I need some help. Technically, Baylor is a Mike Merrifield play because Arizona State has receiving more votes, but Baylor's the favorite team at home. My Tennessee is a system play for me because it's Tennessee versus a dog shit football team. Duke's a decent team, even though they haven't covered yet this year. And NC State's not good. It's at home. It's a rivalry game. They just need to cover a field goal. They have the better player. I think I'm going to go Tennessee. I need thoughts.
Well, I would stay the hell away from NC State Duke. That just is. I would stay the hell away from that. I do like Tennessee.
Smart.
I mean, UAB is terrible. And Tennessee's going to wreck.
UAB can score a lot of points. And Tennessee is good. Tennessee's good. Tennessee is good. But Tennessee, coming off that loss, that's a tough game to lose. And to expect them to just go out and win by 40. They're going to win by 70 or I don't know.
I would go
Baylor.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I would go Baylor. I know their defense sucks, but I mean, this is a tough spot for Arizona State. It's just you're going to Baylor at night. I know their defense is terrible, but I'm a big Sora Robertson guy. I mean, they need this win if we're going to stay in Big 12 contention. So I would take Baylor in that spot.
Personally, I would go Tennessee, and it's for the same principle as my pick with Indiana this last week. As you pointed out, Tennessee loves to embarrass really bad teams. And I mean, your golden philosophy has always been SEC teams versus really bad teams. So at that point, what are we doing here?
I think Jay Walsh is correct in this situation. My only issue with Tennessee is that UAB knows how to score. Like their offense is good with Kitna's kid as a quarterback and Trent Dilfer as their head coach. Their defense is horrific.
But they're also going to be playing against superior athletes, and I am usually a person that if I side with the team with superior athletes, obviously that's what upsets are made of. But I think in this scenario, I would go with Tennessee.
Some quick research just told me Tennessee has never scored 40 on UAB. Ever.
So they're due.
In 9 meetings.
You
5
know
meetings.
what
In 5 meetings.
You know what the pick should be. And it's the one we texted about earlier today. We shouldn't even be talking about Saturdays. We should be talking about Monday night.
Oh, dear God.
Oh, I forgot. I thank you for reminding me. The last pick on Monday Night Football, if you're interested in free money, the Baltimore Ravens are laying 4.5 against the Detroit Lions. Jay Walsh, would you like me to read the stat I found today on the Detroit Lions?
Go for it.
Would you like to guess the Lions' record in Baltimore all time since 1998 against the Ravens, not against the Colts, only against the Baltimore Ravens?
I'm going to go ahead and say it's not good because the last time they were playing the Ravens, I actually shared this story earlier. I was playing at Shepherd's Hollow the last time they played the Ravens. We teed off relatively early out. Absolutely. We teed off a little bit early. We were about on the 11th hole when that game kicked off. I stopped checking my phone at the 14th hole because it was just not going well.
For reference, for those listening, the Lions are 0-4 all time in Baltimore. They have never stayed within 7 points. The last 3 meetings between the Lions and the Ravens in Baltimore have gone as follow: 38-6, 44-20, and 48-3. We also know how bad the Lions are against mobile quarterbacks. Check against Baltimore. Check NFC divisional round against the Commanders. Check anytime they play the Eagles. So I like the Ravens on Monday night. I'm going to go with Tennessee, though. I agree with Jay Walsh. And I also have this sneaking suspicion with Arizona State that Michigan State fans are just going to have a really bad Saturday night where Sam Leavitt has an incredible game, even though he's played like shit so far this year. And then Aiden Childs shits the bed. And then we're back to square one with Spartan fans, even though it shouldn't even be a conversation. Like, it's a stupid comparison, but that's where we are as a fan base. So give me Tennessee laying 38.5. Big number, but they get it done. Hey, they technically don't need to score 40. 39-0. That's all we need. But those are my 4 picks for the week. Lock of the week is Rutgers, Iowa, under 46.5. 46.5. Can't believe I'm playing a total. But you know what? When they go low, you go lower. So remember that.
Outstanding advice from Matt Merrifield. Wow. I truly don't know how to follow that up, truly. I just say we wrap it there, unless we got other things to rant about. I'm sure Jay Walsh has something to say.
The only thing I have to say is that the Tigers just brought Chris Paddock into a game against the Guardians down 4-0 in the top of the 9th. So apparently they're just waving the white flag. So actively losing my mind right now. I don't like baseball anymore.
So it's down to 4.5, and don't the Tigers go to Cleveland after this series? Oh no!
Next week,
Monday through Wednesday.
Buckle up.
Yep.
Buckle, fasten your seatbelts. Oh no!
So I believe Nick Burt and I talked about this earlier this year, like when the Tigers were still doing well, like on that great pace they started out with. They were the first team to 60 wins. I believe pre-All-Star break when they just started shitting the bed. I believe we talked about this because Cleveland was playing like absolute dog. They were not playing well. The Tigers had opened up like something like a 15-game lead in the Central at the time. And I believe, Nick, you texted me saying, like, congrats on the division, Cleveland is dead, all that. And I believe I sent back to you, I know for a fact that this is going to come down to the wire because this is what Cleveland does. And they are the professional franchise that I hate the most because they aren't good. They don't have a good roster. They have a few good players. They don't have a good roster. They just don't go away. And they're the most frustrating.
The Tigers are the same team.
Oh, my God. The Cleveland Guardians are the most frustrating team to be in a division with because it doesn't matter how good your team is. It doesn't matter how bad their team is. They are always going to be there. And if you slip up once, they are going to take advantage. And it's the most frustrating thing because we know what happens to Cleveland. They get into the playoffs, they play against a real team that's actually good, and they shit their pants. It's just so frustrating that year in and year out, this team contends for and wins the AL Central when they're really not that good. And it is just the most frustrating thing on the planet. But I saw this coming even when the Tigers were on their like 115 win pace or whatever they were.
Nick is just sitting there with he wants to smile so bad.
I'm just saying, we could win tonight and win tomorrow and then get swept by the Twins this weekend. That is something that could very realistically happen. Like, let's just be honest here. This is still the Cleveland Guardians we're talking about. And Jay Walsh, I just wanted to point out that you said when the Guardians get to the playoffs, they face a real team and then shit the bed. So thank you for saying that Tigers last year were not a real team.
Everyone knew that. They won on a miracle run to end the season. They were not a real, like, actual good team.
This is the same team this year.
I'm aware, Matt. Do you think, with everything that I'm saying, do you think that I genuinely believe the Tigers have any prayer of doing anything in the playoffs?
Okay, I will stop.
We have two.
I mean, the AL is open.
Okay, it is. We have two relief pitchers that I have faith in. One of them got shelled for 4 runs in extra innings last night, and the other one is currently on the IL.
You're not like other Tiger fans, so I will lay off on you, Mr. J. Walsh.
At least you still have your best relievers. Some of them are suspended for gambling.
Get him in the podcast.
And that's my point about Cleveland. They have gotten better since they lost their best reliever. It makes no sense to me. They don't go away. They defy all logic.
Jay Walsh, do you want to talk about something more exciting? How Newcastle face Barcelona in the Champions League tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
Let's end this. Get this over with.
All right, let's just wrap it before we get to the bottom of the 9th here in Detroit. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Merrifield Sportsbook Show. What a time we had today. Just thank you so much for watching. If you just found this video, click like, click subscribe, tell anybody you know about it. We'll be back, of course, next week to recap all of this. I don't know if we're going to be recording during another baseball game next week because honestly, I don't know what time first pitch is next week. We'll figure it out. It is what it is. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you again soon for another episode of the Merrifield Sportsbook Show.